I've got this. Finding strength in the face of challenge, something I want to chat with you guys about today. And, life moves on at incredible speeds today, especially in modern times, hard to keep up with at times. I remember having small kids and trying to create sales in my job at work, trying to keep marriage happy, and then if you add on top of that any kind of ambition for great accomplishment, it really becomes easy to feel overwhelmed or not up to the task. And mind you, overwhelm in and of itself is just simply a reflection of the meaning we've given to the challenges in front of us. Depending on the person, sometimes just getting off the couch or getting out of the house can feel overwhelming, while others, CEOs of corporations, feel like they were born for this and it's not a big challenge to them. So it was funny. I was chatting with a Navy SEAL trainer, a friend of mine who's now in his 50s, and they were out with a bunch of recruits doing a 12-mile rock mountain hike, and he came in first above all of them. And the young guys were complaining, well, it's not fair because we were carrying 50-pound packs and it was painful. And he took his shirt off and showed these bloody marks on his shoulders. He goes, it's called pain and it's part of the job. So it's like sometimes you'd hear that saying, when it's hard for you, it's just right for me. So we got a question sometimes about what we've decided is hard. And I'm not discounting true, genuine difficulties that might be in front of you. I have lost a spouse. I've been let down after the '08 crash. I lost everything and many more aspects of my life. Life is hard, which is unavoidable. But since it's unavoidable, it shouldn't really be a surprise to us as men when challenges come. Much of my life, I responded to these apparent overwhelms with just freezing up. They say for most of us, we react to confrontation and conflict with fight, flight, or freeze. And that goes into our primal responses and in our amygdala, translating to our whole body systems. I couldn't think, you became confused, and then you panic, then transitions and translates throughout your whole nervous system. So how can we learn to face the inevitable pressures of life, overcome, and even thrive to go on to a higher level? And I just want to start with a perspective shift. I got this from Dr. Robert Glover. This goes all the way back to ancient Chinese philosophies. But to become the non-judgmental observer of yourself. And you look at your situation, circumstances like you were calmly spending time with a friend, listening to their experience. And for yourself, listen to your own inner dialogue as if you're just listening to it calmly, like you're just sharing with your friend, you have love and patience in yourself. It's so funny because often, especially in nice guys, our sense of fear dominates decision-making, and we're even afraid to even look at our own thoughts. And it's just sort of funny because like nobody else can hear them. There are thoughts. You might as well look at them. Yes, we could deal with them. But listen to your inner dialogue. Logically look at the situation that's right in front of you as if you were just an observer of your situation. And then how would you see it differently outside of that panic mode? You're going to make wiser decisions from this perspective. Second perspective, I guess I would suggest you adapt, is learn from examples of others, how they reacted. Many people deal with extreme challenges, such as a cancer, loss of a loved one. And interestingly enough, many of them find purpose in the darkness by, for example, writing a book about their journey, because it creates hope that perhaps in their suffering, there can be an inspiration to others. Now their suffering has a purpose greater than themselves, and it creates a new resiliency that arises to face the darkness because there's now a higher purpose. And the third attitude to adapt, which I'd suggest to all of us as men, is to switch on that gear inside of you. We often refer to it just sometimes as manning up, suck it up. And by that, I just mean turning the stress energy into like a war cry. And the first thing came to mind was, remember Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump, when he's strapped to the bow of the ship in the middle of the storm, the thing's coming on, and he just yells out, "Is that the best you've got?" And, we relate to that. We want to know that we can do that, but it's within us. We have those inner warriors. Looking at challenge as if it were an opponent that you're squarely facing off against. And you respond like a fighter in the ring. You set your stance, you fix your eyes on your challenger, and you just boldly declare, at last, a worthy opponent. And it rises up within you to create this challenge. The same energy that we use when we respond with stress can be switched to a masculine power to fight back against the challenge. And you wake up those inner warriors and find out what you're really made of. There's a part of the masculine journey where we want to be tested. We want to know that we're up to a challenge that we can overcome. I have a phrase I often recite to myself in times like these, and sometimes often just throughout my day. And I'll just say boldly and calmly, I got this. I've got this. And it's a sense of calm confidence and strength and resolve. And no matter what comes, that I am up to the challenge. And look, if I don't have enough information, at the moment, I can make calls, I can do research, or as we jokingly say, 15 minutes on a YouTube video makes you an expert. And if I need to recruit help of others, I can reach out. And, sometimes it's going to mean less sleep, so be it. And I am enough for whatever life brings. That's the key focus, to have an internal resolve and belief that I am enough and I have enough for whatever life brings. The alternative perspective that I'm not enough is it's unacceptable. And it's also deeply rooted in lies. You are enough, you have enough, and you've got this. Feeling overwhelmed isn't a sign of weakness, but rather just a signal you're facing your own self-limiting beliefs, and that if left unchecked, you're going to remain stuck at that level until you lean into the challenge to break through to the other side, where you find relief, you find that it wasn't as scary as you thought, and next time that comes up, it's so much easier because you've already done it. This is where your growth as a man happens. And just remember, every moment of stress is an opportunity to prove to yourself and say, I've got this. Just embrace it. Lead with the strength that defines true leadership. You'll see what you're made of. And just on your own, after this video, a couple of reflection questions, just to think about yourself, to journal. If you got a paper, write this down, or come back, pause it and play this part again. But just to ask yourself, where in life, either now or in the past, have you felt stuck or are feeling stuck in overwhelm? Number 2, how could you turn a current source of suffering into an inspiration for yourself and for others? And number 3, where in your life is there an opportunity to shift from being stuck to embodying the spirit of, I've got this? And finally, number 4, my favorite, what's your war cry? How can you turn this into a war cry and declare boldly, I've got this? Bring it on. And I appreciate you, my brother. This is going to be a year for us to man up. We've got a lot to do. I'll see you in the next one.